Now, different types of arrhythmias. What are the different types? Atrial fibrillation, supraventricular tachycardia, bradycardia, heart block, ventricular fibrillations. I'll explain all these things in detail. Okay, so you can see here how it is transmitted from sinus node to atrium area, atrium contraction, then AV node. From AV node, the bundles will reach to the left and right ventricles. So here in such areas, the arrhythmia can be caused. If it is in the sinus area, sinus arrhythmia. In the atrial area, atrial arrhythmia. In the AV node area, that is the nodal arrhythmia. So all together, it can be caused at what? Supraventricular tachycardia. Supra means above ventricle tachycardias. Okay, and in ventricles, it will cause the ventricular arrhythmia. Okay, or ventricular tachycardia or bradycardia, whatever it is. Okay. Now, the first one is the atrial fibrillation. What is that? One of the most common kind of arrhythmia which can be seen. Atrial fibrillation, AF. So here what will happen? Instead of the atrium contracting in a very orderly manner, the atrial muscles, they will activate many small electrical activity. Not one, many small electrical activity will be activated by the atrial muscle. So those many abnormal signals, they will originate in a loop, atrial loop. That is re-entry, I have told you, right? That loop, it will originate from where? The foci, ectopic foci. Okay, ectopic foci. So because of that, what will happen? Obviously, the atria will not contract properly. It will start fibrillating. Why? Because so many electrical impulses are acting on this atria. Okay, so in the heart, what will happen? Many hundreds of impulses, they will fire chaotically, very congestively, they will fire in the atrium. So these signals, they are like bombing. You can say so many signals are bombed on the atrium together. Okay, but only some will get through that particular atria, AV node, randomly. So because of this particular fibrillation, it will produce a irregular rhythm in the ventricles, because there might be a filter there, but many electrical impulse are acting on that filter. Some will move towards the ventricle. So that will cause what? The irregular rhythm in the ventricles. So here the atria, they don't contract properly, and the ventricle, they are feeling the extra load of electrical impulse. Okay, so that is something causing the atrial fibrillation. Am I clear? Here, in case of in the ECG, see, in the ECG, it will be normal but irregular QRX complex. Okay, P waves will be, there is no differentiation in that, but there might be irregularity in the R to R complex. The interval between R to R will be irregular, which is the hallmark for the atrial fibrillation. The irregular RR complex, RR interval, it is the hallmark for this particular atrial fibrillation. Okay, whereas the QRS, they are generally narrow. Usually they are narrow. Okay, but if there is a bundle branch block or if there is a conduction abnormality, then the situation might be different. Clear? So that is what is happening in the atrial fibrillation. Patient might be having this palpitations like issue. See, it's given like they might be having a sudden heart rate increase might be there. Okay, irregular heartbeat, breathlessness, dizziness, fatigue. Okay, chest discomfort, anxiety. Okay, all this thing can occur, but the patient, some patient, they might be asymptomatic also. That is also one important point you should note down. Clear? So in atrial fibrillation, that proper electrical impulse transmission won't be there. Clear? And if the atrial fibrillation gets complicated, there is a chance of stroke. Why? Blood will stagnate. It will lead to the clot formation, and it can lead to some kind of embolism, embolic stroke or systemic embolism and all. Same way, heart failure. Okay, there might be some cardiomyopathy like situation. Clear? So all those things can lead to what? Your atrial fibrillation. Different causes might be there. For example, you can see here the CAD, cardiovascular, like your coronary artery disease, hypertension, valvular, heart disease condition, some kind of cardiomyopathies, hyperthyroidism. Okay, some kind of infection, pulmonary disease, COPD, pulmonary embolism. All these things are the causes of this particular atrial fibrillation. Clear? So just understand the basic things, more than enough. So you can see here, just the diagrammatical view, disorganized electrical signals will be there in the atrial fibrillation. Coming to the atrial flutter. So what is this atrial flutter? Heart rate will be 200 to 350 beats per minute. What is that? It is also a type of heart rhythm disturbance, arrhythmia. So here the upper chambers of the heart, that is your atria, they will beat very fast. Even though it is beating very fast, but it will be in an organized manner. So that's why the beats you can see 200 to 350 beats per minute. Very fast beating action will be there. But in case of fibrillation, you see it is disorganized also and it is beating very faster also. But here in flutter, it is just fluttering but organized manner. So this is different from the atrial fibrillation. Okay, in case of atrial fibrillation, the atrial activity will be very chaotic and also very irregular. In case of atrial flutter, what happens? The electrical signals, it will keep on looping rapidly in a very fixed pathway inside the atria. So the atria is contracting very regularly but very rapidly. So that's why the 200-350 times per minute. Okay, but this thing particular, the AV block in the AV node. Okay, in the AV node, you know, right? Atria-ventricular connection, AV node. The AV node, they can block some kind of these impulses. Okay, so the ventricles will beat more slower and in a regular rhythm. The only thing here it is happening is what? Only thing it is happening is what? They are acting in a very fast, rapid action, but regular rhythm is there. Okay, that is the main difference you can just say here. Okay, just give me a minute. Okay, so what is the main issue behind, what is the main reason behind this atrial flutter? Why is it atrial flutter happening? Main factor is the re-entry circuit. Okay, re-entry circuit. Where what happens in the re-entry circuit? The electrical impulse will keep traveling in a circular loop. Okay, the atrial tissue will be continuously re-excited again and again. So that is the re-entry circuit. So that is the main reason behind this particular atrial flutter. Because of that continuous excitation in one single loop, this heart rate is increasing. Okay, so there are different types of atrial flutter. That is typical type, which is very much common in the right atrium. It occurs in the right atrium and it is very common. Common type, that is a typical atrial flutter. Okay, the impulse will be looping around the particular right atrium. That is the tricuspid valve. In the right side, tricuspid valve is there, right? There it will be keep on looping. Okay, so that is happening. Then there are some kind of atypical atrial flutter also. That is happening in other parts of the atrium. That is in the left part of the atrium. Clear? So that is on the re-entry circuit. If it is occurring means they are going to cause this atrial flutter. Looping pathway. That is one single overexcitation happening in a single area. Okay, so because of that, the rapid rhythmic action will be there, but the rapid heart rate will be there, but it will be regular action will be there. So keep in mind that in the atrial flutter, the electrical signals, they are circulating continuously around the atrium. So because of that only, they are causing the rapid action, rapid contraction of the atrium, but they are organized. Okay, that is the thing. And some of the this excitation, some of the electrical impulse, they can get blocked in the atrioventricular node also. So therefore, small amount will only reach the ventricles. So ventricle rhythm is slow and it is regular. It is not very high. Clear? So that is happening in the atrial flutter. I hope that's clear. And the patient might have the similar feature of the symptoms like your palpitation, breathlessness, same symptoms, lightheadedness, discomfort, like that. So just like the atrial fibrillation, this will also cause some kind of, if it is not treated, it might cause cardiomyopathy, tachycardia like myopathy. Clear? So that is about the atrial flutter. So which is happening in the atrial area. Coming to the sinus bradycardia. So what are the different types of bradyarrhythmias? Okay, bradyarrhythmia means what? Some kind of brady means what? The lower than 60 beats per minute. Okay, so the bradyarrhythmia and sinus node disorders. Okay, so you can think of this sinoatrial node as the heart's mentor, right? That is what it is doing. So when it slows down, what will happen? The whole rhythm will change. Obviously, if it is beating faster, the sinoatrial node is giving more action potential, it might change the algorithm. Okay, same way, if it is slowing down, then that will also change the whole rhythm picture. Okay, so normal action of the sinoatrial node you already know. So what happens here in case of this? Okay, it will lead to either if the slope is after the depolarization, the slope is very narrow. If it is flatter, it will cause the slower heart rate. Okay, you know the autonomic action also, right? Sympathetic action will speed up, whereas the vagal action will slow down. That action already I've explained in that chapter. Okay, so what are the spectrum of the sinus node problem? The first one is the sinus bradycardia. Simply means the heart is beating slower than the normal. That's it. Okay, even though it is beating slower than normal, but it is there in a coordinated manner. It is still in the correct rhythm. Okay, so the impulse, they will still come from the SA node. Okay, but it will be very slow. Impulse generation rhythm will be same, but the slower beating will be there. So the ECG, in case of ECG, if you ask me, the sinus bradycardia, it is normal, it will look normal when you compare it with the P wave, PR interval, QRS shape, everything. Okay, but the only difference is the rate. That is the 60, less than 60 beats per minute, the rate might be there. Okay, so the rhythm is the sinus. Sinus means what? The normal P wave, but the rate is slow. That's it. Sinus rhythm is normal, but the rate is slow. That you keep in mind. Okay, now there are different causes. One is the extrinsic cause and the intrinsic cause. Extrinsic cause means what? Factors which is outside the conduction system, which is causing the slow down the heart rate. Okay, which is slowing down the heart rate. Okay, like medications, beta blockers, verapamil, digoxin, then we have amiodarone, clonidine, antipsychiatric drugs. Okay, psychiatric drugs. All those things, they can cause what? The bradycardia. Same way, we have what? The hypothyroidism, hypothermia, body cooling. That will also slows all process. Okay, so then they might have hypoxia, lack of oxygen supply. Okay, if there is some kind of vagus nerve activation, that can lead to the bradycardia. If there is a vagal action overactivity, if more amount of vagal overactivity will be there, means what? The bradycardia will be there. Okay, so that is what different kinds of extrinsic factor which is causing the bradycardia, that is the sinus bradycardia. Then there are some intrinsic causes also, like which is damage or any kind of disease condition which is causing such kind of bradycardia. For example, myocardial infarction, ischemia. Okay, so there are some kind of fibrosis like situation, age related fibrosis, myocarditis, inflammatory conditions. All those things also can lead to bradycardia. Okay, now why is this bradycardia causing such symptoms? I have already taught you in the heart failure, right? What is the cardiac output? Your heart is a pump, so it is depending on the cardiac output, right? How? Heart rate plus stroke volume. Cardiac output is what? Heart rate into the stroke volume. So if the heart rate is very slow, so even if the heart is beating strongly, but if it is very slow, the total output per minute will be what? Very less. It will not be sufficient for the body's needs. Okay, so low cardiac output means what? Less blood, less oxygen, it will reach the brain. Okay, so less things will reach, and that can cause what? The body's insufficient functioning. Okay, so this is why patient they might experience, if the patient is having bradycardia, they might experience dizziness, fatigue-like situation, hypotension, syncope. Okay, even you might have this heart failure symptoms also. Clear? So those are the symptoms of the sinus bradycardia. I hope that's clear. It's very simple. The next one is the sick sinus syndrome. Sixth sinus syndrome, or you can say sinus node dysfunction. So the sinus node, what is that? It is like in the sixth sinus syndrome, or you can say triple S. Sixth sinus syndrome, triple S. So in this particular triple S condition, your pacemaker is completely faulty. Fault is there in the pacemaker. Okay, it is going to fire very slowly. It might be very unpredictable. Okay, it might fail to if for example, if the patient is exercising, so during exercise your heartbeat should it is increased, right? So if the patient is having sixth sinus syndrome, the production of the heart rate or the blood supply to the body parts won't be sufficient. So it will fail to respond to the demands of the body, like in exercise situation, because the pacemaker is completely faulty. It is going to fire very slowly, unpredictable. Okay, so it will be sometimes this sixth sinus node is too slow, very slow, that it can lead to what? Some kind of tachybrady syndrome, irregularity. Okay, there might be episodes of the fast rhythm, then followed by slow rhythm. So that is tachybrady syndrome. Clear? So this is what is happening in the sixth sinus syndrome. I hope that's clear. So that is mainly the same symptoms only they are going to cause here also. Dizziness, fainting, your hypotension, fatigue. Okay, such situation might only be there, and it's very normal. It is silent. Okay, there is no much action shown here, but your sinus activity will be very much reduced. Okay, and then we have the last one, that is the conduction block. What is that conduction block? AV block, atrioventricular block. You know, right? SA node, atria, AV node, bundle of His, bundle branches, Purkinje fibers, and finally the ventricles. So if there is a heart block means what? The AV block. So heart block occurs when the electrical signals from the atrium, it fails to reach the ventricles properly, because it is passing through the AV node only, no? After the AV node, Purkinje fibers through the bundle of His. So because of the irregularity here, if they cannot transfer, if they cannot move the electrical signals from atria to ventricle, means what? Ventricular contraction won't occur. So cardiac output will be affected. Okay, because the conduction system, that is the AV area, AV node is the gatekeeper. So you need to pass on the electrical impulse to the ventricles for its contraction and blood supply. So if conduction block means the signal is delayed, or it will be completely blocked, completely stopped. Okay, so it might either occur, this conduction block, it might either occur in the AV node, in the AV conduction block. So the atrial impulse, they cannot get through the ventricles. They are struggling to go through the ventricles. Or the conduction block can occur in the Purkinje fibers. Okay, bundle of His and Purkinje fibers. That is something, the intraventricular block. So the signals fails to travel properly down the bundle branches. They will not reach the Purkinje fibers. Okay, so that is, they are going to cause a bundle branch block. Okay, so these are the different. So either it will be in the atrial, upper area, or it will be in the lower branches. Clear? So sixth sinus syndrome is what? The sinus node is not firing properly. So because of that, it is going slow rhythm of the heart, or there might be some tachybrady like situation also, alternating rhythm. Same way, conduction block is something what? The impulse are generated, but they are blocked, they are delayed, and they are not reached to the ventricles. Clear? Now coming to the tachycardia. So bradycardias and sinus node are bradycardias and all we have learned. Now what is ventricular arrhythmia and ventricular fibrillation? Obviously, ventricular arrhythmia means what? They are arising from the ventricles, main pumping a source. So these rhythms, they are very important aspects. So ventricular tachycardia means what? More than 3 consecutive ventricular beats will occur at a very rapid rate. Okay, very fast heart rhythm will occur. So that is beginning in the ventricles instead of the atria or the sinoatrial node. So the abnormal electrical impulses, they are damaged. They are damaging the ventricular muscles. So because of that, the ventricles won't be able to properly function. So abnormality will occur. Okay, so the heart will beat very fast that it won't allow the ventricles to get filled with the blood. Okay, during the diastole. So because of that, the blood pumping will be very much reduced. The cardiac output will be reduced. So because of that, the patient might collapse. The patient might faint. Dizziness will be there. So that is the ventricular tachycardia. Same way we have ventricular fibrillation. You can see here ventricular fibrillation. What is that? Very disorganized electrical activity in the ventricles will be there. Okay, there won't be any proper effective cardiac output. Why? Because no contraction is occurring. Disorganized electrical activity is there. Okay, so because of that, in this particular ventricular fibrillation, no, even death can occur. Rapid loss of consciousness will occur, death might occur, cardiac arrest might occur if you don't treat it properly. Why? Because the coordination of the the coordinated contraction is not happening properly. Okay, there are so many action potential fired in the ventricles. Okay, so the ventricles are not pumping the blood properly. It is just fibrillating, quivering. Okay, it will cure. So that is the issue here. Okay, so that is ventricular fibrillation. And then we have one more, that is the supraventricular tachycardia. Okay, that is what? SVT, supraventricular tachycardia. So what is it? A very fast rhythmic action that starts above the ventricles. Supra means above the ventricles, maybe in the atrial area or in the AV junction, atrioventricular junction. So here also, no, the beats might be around 150 to 250 beats per minute. Okay, with palpitation. So they are having very sudden onset of regular fast heartbeat. Okay, so the heartbeat will be very fast, but it will be regular. So that is happening in the supraventricular tachycardia. So this very fast action is there, but regular action is there, right? So what is the main mechanism there? The re-entry circuit. Okay, the re-entry circuit, that is the electrical loop, will continuously fire at a particular location, continuously at one particular location. So overexcitation will occur in that particular area, which can lead to tachycardia. Clear? So you can imagine that ventricular tachycardia, fast rhythm will be there from the ventricles, and that is very dangerous. The patient might collapse. Same way in the ventricular fibrillation, there will be very disorganized kind of chaotic kind of rhythm will be there. No cardiac output will be there. Sudden cardiac arrest can occur. In case of SVT, that is supraventricular tachycardia, what will occur? Fast rhythm will be there, but organized rhythms might be there. Okay, even though the fast action, but organized rhythm will be there. Okay, but it is not that fatal, but continuously in one area only, they will be showing the tachycardia, increase in the fast action. Clear? So that is there in the supraventricular tachycardia. And then the bundle branches block, I have told you, right? BBB, bundle branch block. So what will happen? One highway is blocked or slowed down. So one ventricle, it will get the impulse on time, but the other will get it late. So the left ventricle might get late, but the right ventricle might get the impulse. Okay, so one ventricle will get the impulse on time, the other will get it late. Because why? It is traveling very slow. Okay, so there will be delay shown in the ECG also, because the ventricles are not firing together. There is no proper sync. Atrias, both left and right atria will contract together, right? Same way the left and right ventricles should also contract. But in this particular bundle branch block, if it is the left bundle branch block, means the left ventricle won't get the proper action potential, whereas the right ventricle will get, because the right ventricle block is not there. Did you understand? So that is going to show the bundle branch block. Okay, and then there is a one condition. See, the right tachycardia and left tachycardia bundle branch block show wide deformed QRS complex. Okay, so in that situation, they will require a new pacemaker. Okay, pacemaker is required here. Then there are long QT syndrome. What is the long QT syndrome? It's a kind of repolarization and conduction disorder. So long QT syndrome, you can short form it as LQTS. LQTS. So normally, you know, every heartbeat, after every heartbeat, the ventricles will contract and then it will reset. That is a repolarize. So ventricles will depolarize and then it will repolarize. That is what happening normally. Okay, so this repolarization means what? The resetting of this action potential. Okay, the repolarization, it will show up on what? The ECG as a QT complex. I'm just not writing. Okay, QT complex. So that is what the repolarization will show in the ECG. So if long QT syndrome means what? The ventricles is taking too long to get repolarized. Simple manner. Okay. In long QT syndrome, the ventricles is taking too much long time to repolarize or reset. Why is it dangerous? Every impulse is transmitted one by one, right? So if the next impulse arrives before the ventricles are ready for depolarization again, what will happen? It can cause one of the important condition that is called as Torsades de Pointes. Torsades de Pointes, a very dangerous rhythmic problem. Okay, a twisting form of ventricular tachycardia, that is Torsades de Pointes. Okay, why? That's why it is dangerous. QT long syndrome is dangerous. Okay, the patient symptoms are all similar to that of what arrhythmia or we have learned before, but you just think of this QT syndrome as, just think of it like a phone battery. If it is taking too long to recharge and you try to use it heavily before it is recharged, the system will crash. It will switch off. Same action, just imagine in the long QT syndrome. I hope that's clear. Okay, so these are the different, conditions of the arrhythmias. Clear? What are the risk factors? So the first one is the coronary artery disease, heart problems, previous heart surgery. So these are the risk factors of the arrhythmia. So, you know, coronary artery disease, CAD, atherosclerosis. What is that? Cholesterol plaque will block the blood flow in the heart's arteries. So what will happen? The muscles will not get proper oxygen. So without oxygen, obviously, they cannot generate the electrical impulse properly. So that is one risk factor. Then same way we have the heart attack, myocardial infarction. If any part of the heart dies, if the part of heart dies, what will there? It will be replaced by some tissues, scar tissues. Okay. Now the scar tissues, no, they don't conduct this electricity. So the impulses may be blocked. Okay. So that is one area. Then there are different kinds of valve problem, faulty valve. Okay. So that valve issue can also cause heart surgery. If there is any cut on the heart, it can leave a scar in the tissues. Okay. So just like the heart attack scar, this scar also, no, they can interfere with the normal conduction of the heart. Okay, because of that scar, proper conduction will be affected. Then heart failure situation, cardiomyopathy, all those are one condition. Same way, high blood pressure. If there is a constant high blood pressure, no, it will keep your heart pump harder. It makes the heart pump harder. So the left ventricle, after some time, it will become thick in nature. So it can lead to what? Hypertrophy. Okay, so that can also cause less electric conduction. Okay, that is why high pressure is also one of the important factor that is very dangerous. Then we have what? Congenital heart disease. Some people know they are born with this heart defects. Then thyroid problems. If there is a hyperthyroidism, okay, if hyperthyroidism means what? Everything will get speed up. Metabolism, heart rate, okay, adrenaline sensitivity, everything will speeds up. So it will make the atria hyperactive. So that's why if it is making the atrium hyperactive, it can cause what? The atrial fibrillation. When if it is hyperthyroidism. Same way if it is hypothyroidism, everything will be slowed down. Your heart's pacemaker activity will all get slowed down. Okay, so that can lead to what? The bradycardia. Okay, so these are some. There are others also. Yeah, diabetes. Diabetes is also a factor. Diabetes, no, they will slow down the this thing, heart functioning. How? They are going to slowly damage the heart. One such way, they're going to trigger the atherosclerosis. Okay, they can cause some neuropathy damage, nerve damage also. Okay, so that's why, and this diabetes, if it is there, it is linked to what? Hypertension also, right? Hypertension, obesity, and all. So arrhythmia risk will be there. Then there is what? OSA. What is OSA? Obstructive sleep apnea. During sleep apnea, breathing stops for some period of time. Right. So each time this, if it is happening, oxygen level will be low in the blood. So the blood will respond with a what? With a action of adrenaline, so that you wake up and restore breathing. You would have seen, right? Suddenly the patient will be loss of breath and suddenly they will wake up and breathe. So the body is responding with the action of adrenaline during that time. Why? To wake you up for restoring the breath. Okay, so because of this sudden trigger of the sympathetic activity, no, that can also trigger the arrhythmias. Okay, so that is also one major factor. After some time, if you are continuously having this obstructive sleep apnea, no, it can worsen the heart blood pressure also. It can cause more pressure in the heart. So because of that also, rhythm will be abnormal will be there. Then what is the one? Electrolyte imbalance. Potassium, sodium, magnesium, calcium, all those this electrolytes are very important. If there is any balance, it can be dangerous. If, for example, I'll just say potassium, if it is hypokalemia, it can cause ventricular arrhythmia. Okay, so like that. So sodium also, calcium also, magnesium, everything. If there is a low magnesium level, it can lead to Torsades de Pointes. I have told you, right? It is a very uh, uh, severe type of ventricular arrhythmia, Torsades de Pointes. So that can also be caused if there is a low magnesium level in the body. So these are some of the electrolyte imbalances. Those can also trigger this your arrhythmia. I hope that's clear. Now coming to the cardiac action potential. What are the different phases? I've told you before, right? I'll be telling you the phases, different phases. So the cardiac action potential, what they have in the normally where? In the ventricles. That is the ventricular muscle, myocytes. So that is mainly classified into mainly 5 stages, 5 phases. That is 0 to 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5 stages we have, 5 phases we have, you can see. Okay, now each phases, no, they are produced by some kind of action of ions, opening and closing of the specific ion channels. Okay, because of that only these phases are produced. Okay, for example, the phase 4. What is that phase 4? Resting membrane potential. It's a resting membrane potential, resting phase. You can just imagine, now imagine yourself that phase 4 is simply like a battery, a tiny battery, when it is resting. The battery is charged and it is waiting for the signal to do some action. Okay, so that is something the resting stage, like a battery. The heart cell is in a resting stage. Okay, until we are waiting for it to send a signal to signal a fire. Okay, now there no we have what they are stable resting membrane potential it is. Okay, in a ventricular muscle. So in the ventricular cells, this phase 4 is stable. It is flat and stable. Okay, so after that, what will happen? In this particular stage, you know, there are some ions which is showing the action. What is? One is the potassium, the main game player in this particular phase. Okay, the potassium ions, you know, positive charge, K plus. Now they are going to maintain a stable negative charge. Okay, now what they will allow, there is some kind of current signal. There is a specific kind of current signal which is allowing the potassium to flow in and out to balance the electrical state. Gatekeeper, just like a gatekeeper, you can imagine. Okay, potassium current channels, they are acting as a gatekeeper. Okay, so they won't allow the unnecessary excitement and also the, the lowering down of the cardiac action. Okay, so they are maintaining that balance in the ventricle. So once after the phase 0, after the phase 4, once the phase 0 action has been initiated, so once the signal comes, that is the phase 0 signal comes, that is depolarization will begin. In the ventricles, the blood has been accumulated. Now it is in a resting stage. That is the phase 4. Ventricles are in the resting stage. Okay, flat. Once the phase 0 is activated, when the signal comes from the SA node, the phase 0 will be activated, which will lead to depolarization. You can see here. In the phase 0, depolarization will occur, means contraction will occur. Now, what is the difference between what different in the pacemaker cell in the SA node and AV node? Okay, see, unlike the ventricular cells, no, pacemaker cells do not sit quietly. That point you know, right? Ventricle cells, they will be quiet. But pacemaker cells, the SA node cells won't be quiet. They will be continuously showing the action potential. Am I right? Okay, so phase 4, as I said, after the phase 4, when there is an initiation of the action potential, the phase 0 will be activated, and because of that, the depolarization will occur. Okay, so that is happening in the phase 0. So after phase 4, after the resting phase, there will be a phase 0 that is showing the contraction. That is a rapid depolarization will occur. Okay, so you can imagine that in the phase 4, like I have given you the example before of the battery. So you imagine the heart cell, it is just like a battery, okay, which was there in the resting state. In the phase 4, it was there in the resting state, which was ready to fire. Now, when it comes to the phase 0, once the phase 0 is the moment the battery is suddenly on, switches on. The battery or the phone switches on. So what will happen? The cell will quickly become active. Right. So that is happening in the phase 0 depolarization. Now here there is a different game of the ion channels. Okay. So here the opening of the sodium channel. What will happen in the ventricular cell? The voltage gated sodium channel will suddenly open. During the phase 0 depolarization state, the voltage gated sodium channel will open when the cell is depolarized, when the cell gets the depolarizing signal. So this is like the opening the door for the sodium ions to come in, to rush in. Clear? Now the sodium ions, what it will do? It will rush in. So because the sodium ion is flowing rapidly inside the cell, what it will do? It will make the inside the cell less negative. Right, because sodium is positive charge. So once the sodium ion is flowing rapidly inside the cell, it will make it less negative very quickly. So there is an influx happening, right? The influx of what? The positive charge, right? So the fast influx of the positive charge, it can cause what? The sudden increase in the action potential. Okay. Rapid increase in the positive charge inside the cell, it will trigger the increase in the action potential. So that during that change of the ions, right, during the change of the charges inside the cell, from the resting stage, it will suddenly get excited. So that excitation will trigger what? The contraction. I hope it's clear. Okay, so that is what happening in the phase 0. So basically you can see phase 0 is what you see in the ventricles firing, electrically. So phase 0 is what? It is a sudden electrical firing in the ventricle cells. Sodium will come in, inside cell will become less positive. The inside will become more positive and less negative. So because of the change in the ions inside the cell, action potential will be increased, and that will cause what? The contraction. And in ECG, if you ask me, there will be increase, that QRS complex, the sudden spike you can see, right? QRS complex, that is what the phase 0. Okay, did you understand? So after phase 0, what will happen? Phase resting stage is over, rapid depolarization has occurred, and now comes the rapid repolarization initiation in the phase 1. In the phase 1 is what? Initial rapid repolarization. Okay. Imagine your heart cell, it is just like a big electrical jump. Like for example, in the phase 0, the sodium ions has rushed in, right? The cell got excited and the action potential got increased. Contraction has occurred in the phase 0. Now phase 1 is what? It is just a stop, brief pause. After that sudden jump, a small pause will be there. How it is causing the small pause? They are going to close the sodium channel. Okay, the fast sodium channel which caused that spike QRS, that spike in the phase 0. Now in this particular phase, they will close it. They will shut down the sodium channel. So what will happen if you are shutting down the sodium channel? Sodium won't enter the cell, right? So inside the cell, what will happen? The how much positive ions went, that was okay in the phase 0, but in phase 1 what will happen? The sodium ions won't be able to enter inside the cell. Why? Because they have shut down the sodium channels. And during that same time, the potassium ions also, they are going to leave out. They are also positive ion only, right? Potassium channel also. At the same time, potassium channel will open for a short moment, only for a short moment. That is the initial stage. Okay. Sodium ions, which was entered into the inside the cell in the phase 0, in phase 1, that sodium channels will be blocked. So sodium won't be able to enter the cell. And during that same time, potassium ions will open up suddenly for a short moment, and these positive ions will come outside. Efflux will occur. They will leave outside the cell. So because of that, what will happen? Inside the cell, will it be positive or negative now? Negative. Why? Sodium is also not there inside, and potassium has also gone out. So it will make inside the cell slightly more negative. So there is a drop in the voltage, small drop in the voltage, right? Small exit of potassium and sodium ion channels has been blocked. Okay, so that stage, during this stage, that is a phase 0, phase 1 together corresponds to the RS. Okay, so what happens during this closure only? What it will cause? It will cause a plateau phase. This initial repolarization will then lead into the plateau phase, which is the phase 2. Okay, so just a small pause. After the sudden spike, you have given just a small pause by closing the sodium channel and removing the potassium out of the cell. Okay, so during this, what will happen? One more ion will cause one deflection. That is the chloride ions. Chloride is negative charge. Okay, now what chloride ions will do? They may also move a bit. So they are going to contribute a downward deflection. Okay, in you can see in the this thing ECG complex. In ECG, you can see a sudden downward deflection will be there. That is your phase 1. Okay, that is the initial rapid repolarization. A very tiny spike, you can say. Okay, tiny deflection might be there. Why? In phase 1, so sodium stops coming in. Potassium briefly leaves out. The heart cells, they are preparing for the phase 2. Phase 2 is what? The plateau phase. So it's like a quick reset movement, you can say, for the next contraction. Okay, just a quick reset phase, you can see. Clear? After phase 1, we are having the phase 2, plateau phase. So plateau phase and phase 3 we have is the repolarization. This is the proper repolarization occurring. Okay, now in this phase 2, what happens? After the tiny deflection in the phase 1, now the heart cell, they doesn't go back down immediately. Okay, they will stay at that high voltage for a particular while. That is the plateau stage. It won't gradually drop after the phase 1. No, a sudden deflection occur, and after that in the plateau phase, it will be there. The high voltage will be there for a while. That is known as the plateau. It is holding, the cell is holding the contraction. Why holding the contraction? why there is a sudden deflection occurring, and why in the phase 2 the plateau phase has occurred. Remember, in the first place I have told you, ventricles need time to what? Fill with blood, right? So think of it as the ventricles, the cell is holding its contraction so that the ventricles can pump blood efficiently. Clear? So they have allowed the filling the blood movement, and during the plateau phase only they are holding that high voltage so that they can give that contraction to the ventricles so that ventricles can pump blood effectively. I hope that's clear. Okay, so in the plateau phase, what happens? There is a balancing of ions taking place. There, calcium ions. What this calcium? Normally the L type. Okay, L type calcium ions. L type calcium ions. Calcium channels will flow in. Okay, so L type calcium channel will allow the calciums to flow in. Now, what this calcium does? You know, calcium is where inside the cell, it will help the muscle to contract. And there is a potassium ion. I have told you, right? In phase 1, there is a brief removal of the potassium ion in the phase 1. But coming to the plateau phase, in the phase 2, potassium will flow out completely. Potassium will leave the outside the cell, and the inside the cell will be negative. So these two currents balance each other. One is the what? The chloride channel, which is coming in and it is going to cause a contraction of the heart. Whereas the potassium channel will leave out of the cell and it will make inside the cell more negative. So the balancing is there. Now, what happens in the ECG? You know the ST segment in the ECG, ST segment. Okay, so that is something which like symbolizes the plateau phase. Okay, so they are in a refractory state now. It will not trigger it to fire very soon, but they are in a plateau stage. Okay, that is, they are not going to allow the continuous contraction, but it is allowing to stop there for a while, and then you go for the proper contraction and the relaxation. Clear? And after that comes the phase 3, that is the repolarization. So after the plateau has occurred, the heart cell finally it is going to reset for the next beat. After the ventricle contraction, because of the calcium channel has occurred, right? Then what the phase 3 will do, it will prepare your heart for the next beat. Okay, so they are going to prepare the heart for resetting, restarting. So here in this particular repolarization state, potassium channel remains open, and whatever left out potassium channels were there inside the cell will be completely rushed out. It will let out the potassium ions out. Okay, so it will make the inside the cell what? Completely negative. So now they have come back to the resting membrane potential. So they are bringing it back to the resting membrane potential. And same way, the calcium ions, okay, they are also not going to allow the influx of the calcium ion. How? They are going to block the L-type calcium channel. So L-type calcium channel will close. So contraction will also stop. And now the cell has become going to relax. So potassium has completely moved out. Calcium channels have been blocked. So no contraction will occur. And now the inside the cell has become completely negative. Now they're coming back to the resting membrane potential. So in case of the ECG, it is corresponding with the help of T wave on the ECG. That is the ventricular repolarization is happening. Clear? So phase 2 is something is what they are holding the contraction for a while. Calcium will come in, potassium will go out, and that is depicted by the ST segment. Phase 3 is something what? Reset. The heart cells are getting resetted. So they are allowing complete potassium out. So they will stop the calcium influx, and that is represented by the T wave. So they are preparing the heart for the next heartbeat. Clear? So that is what is happening in the phase 3. Clear? So you can see in this ECG showing the different wave segments here. So you know it's just like a map of the electrical events happening in the heart. Okay, each wave will tell you a different story. Right. For example, the P wave, the first wave, that is the P wave. What is that P wave? Atrial depolarization. right? It will represent the sinoatrial node firing and the atria is contracting here. So that is your atrial depolarization in the P wave. Clear? So here, if there is a missing segment, for example, if P wave is missing, means what? If there is no P wave, means atria's condition is something problematic. Atrial fibrillation might be there. Okay? Or if there is some kind of abnormal shape in the P wave. So there might be some kind of ectopic atrial focus or atrial enlargement might be there. So that is depicted by the P wave, that is showing what? Atrial depolarization. Then there is one PR segment. You can see here PR segment or PR interval. So this is something between atrium as well as ventricle contraction. So PR, this PR interval, it is starting from the P wave and it is going to end near the QRS, near the end of the near the start of the QRS. So during this time, what all things will be? Atrial depolarization, like that, conduction through the this thing. During this PR segment, one thing has occurred, that is the atrial depolarization has occurred. After that, there will be a small delay in the AV node. Why? So that ventricles can fill, right? So delay in the AV node, and then they will, during this interval itself, what all are happening, I'm telling about that, okay? So AV node delay will be there, then conduction of the electrical impulse through the Purkinje fibers and all will be there. Clear? So that is happening in between the PR segment. Clear? After that, what will happen? The initiation of the QRS complex, that is the ventricular depolarization. So they are representing what? The ventricles are firing and contracting, right? So that is a normal, this QRS complex. If the you can see the height here. If the QRS complex, if it is high, then ventricular hypertrophy. It is meant by ventricular hypertrophy. If this QRS complex is very low, then it is something related to obesity, some like other causes, pericardial problem and all. If this QRS complex is low, if it is high, then very high means it is ventricular hypertrophy. That is the amplitude I'm talking about. Okay. And after QRS, there is a ST segment. You can see here ST segment. What is that ST segment here? That is the ventricular plateau phase. You can see this phase. It is plateau, straight line. So this is plateau phase was there in which phase? Phase 2. Right. So it is corresponding to the phase 2 of the ventricular action potential. Clear? So ventricular action potential means what? The cells are depolarized, but they are not yet repolarizing. They are not ready to repolarize. So the baseline, flat, normal baseline will be there. Clear? So in the ECG, you can say, and after the T wave means what? The ventricles has relaxed. Repolarization has occurred. Repolarization of ventricles can occur. And then this plain line will come and then again it will initiate the next heartbeat. I hope that is understood, right? So in the ECG waves, P wave is atria contraction. PR wave is what? The atrioventricular node delay. QRS segment is ventricular contraction and ST segment is they are preparing the ventricles to relax. Clear? So T wave and finally the T wave, the ventricular repolarization. Okay, that is the phase 3. Okay, after the phase 3 repolarization, then phase 4 will be the resting membrane potential. Clear? So that is what it is showing in this particular slide. Okay, this is what I have already explained you here. Atrial depolarization, if there is absence, then it can cause what? Atrial fibrillation. PR interval represents what? Atrial depolarization or this condition. Normal is around 120, 200, 3 to 5 small squares will be there. That is the PR interval. Then if it is prolonged means what? There might be some kind of blocking activity. Okay. Okay. Then QRS complex, that is the ventricular depolarization around 0.12 second only. Okay, if it is narrow, then around less than 0.12 second. Okay, so these are, if it is tall, QRS, I have told you, right? If the QRS complex is very tall, then ventricular hypertrophy. If it is very broad, means abnormal depolarization has occurred. So these are some of the abnormal conditions which is happening in the QRS complex as well as the PR interval. Clear? Then coming to the ST segment, what happens in the ST segment? It is representing ventricular plateau, the straight line plateau. Okay, so around 0.5 to 2 mm. Okay, if it is elevated, then myocardial infarction condition will be there. If it is depressed, then ischemia will be there. Then finally, T wave, ventricular repolarization. Okay, now these are some of the important MCQs you can expect from this part. That is, what are the different abnormal T wave? So they can tell us a lot about the heart problem. First one is the inverted. If it is inverted T wave, pointing down instead of up, so that is the inverted. It can indicate ischemia if there is any kind of bundle blockage, bundle branch blockage. Okay, if there is pulmonary embolism, hypertrophy, ventricular hypertrophy, in such condition, inverted T wave will be there. Okay, then the second one is the biphasic T wave. Two phases will have. First one will be up, second one will be down, vice versa. So that is the biphasic. Two T waves will be there. So these are the early signs of what? Ischemia as well as the hypokalemia, electrolyte disturbances. Low potassium will be there. So if biphasic T wave means what? They are suggesting such condition. Then we have the flattened T wave. Very less pronounced. Almost it will be just like a flat, just flat. So this can also indicate ischemia as well as the electrolyte imbalance or even magnesium. Okay, that is the low potassium as well as the magnesium imbalance. They can cause the flat T waves. Yeah, so that is some important points. So I hope this is what we have learned till now about the arrhythmia's basic properties, basic condition, types and all. Okay.